this is called as age of customer,
Yeah.
where speed is critical to satisfying the customers, and automation, I believe, in many ways comes handy in all of those efficiency gains while we are trying to serve the customer.
Hi all, welcome to Engati CX. I am Drishti and today we have the pleasure of welcoming Rajat Chawla to our interview series. Let's begin with just a quick introduction to Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform, available across 14 channels with 35,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by TechWorld, INC.com, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. Rajat Chawla is Asia's first certified CX mentor. He is the founder, director of Koyopo. He is passionate about customer experience transformation and has worked across business, people, and digital technology space. He facilitates employee and customer experience transformation using globally proven award winning frameworks. So, hi Rajat, we are really happy to have you on Engati CX.
Yeah, thanks so much, Drishti. Pleasure is mine, and I'm excited to be here with you all.
That sounds great. So, I would like to begin with the very popular question that we have in the CX field currently. That the stats say that 76% of the companies are aware of the importance of CX, but these CX plans never get implemented. So, what would be the reason behind that?
Yeah, I think it's a valid question, and you're right. It's a commonly known fact about the implementation, the success of customer experience. So, I can think of a saying which is said that if your thoughts, words, and actions are aligned, anything is possible. I think that on that premise, I would like to also share with you an example of one of the hospitals which is in nephrology, which is actually kidney specialization. I was invited by them to as a consultant, and I met their leadership team. I visited this hospital. In the beginning, they had a challenge of filling up their beds, the patient beds, which means getting enough clients. And over the period, they took certain steps, and their hospital beds were like over, they had a waiting list, and their Google rating went up from something like 2.5 to 4.5 plus on the customer satisfaction. Now, how is that possible? I think what I learned when I interacted with the doctor, when I first met him, he was in his surgical dress, and he was still came out of the operation theater and was talking to me about his vision for his company. How he would want his entire staff, the doctors, because he was a founder doctor. He himself was a practitioner. He had a vision to make his hospital very patient centric, and that was evident. So he would get into the details of, I was there to focus on the aspects of employee engagement. What I later on learned that they had already got pretty good systems where they would even measure things like, if you've heard of way of measuring customer is net promoter score. They would actually every day, doctors and the HOD, every morning they will come and look at the live score for that, particular week and the previous day. Every day their staff would go and meet the patients, which is a common practice. But what was unique about them was how quickly they were putting that information back into the system, and their next day they would pay attention to whatever came as an outcome, as a learning, as an insight. So no surprises there. The hospital was growing. It was really it became a well-known unit in the city and across India, and quickly grew in the business as well. Now, a couple of things which highlight about this story is that the founder doctor's commitment. I would always say you will be able to find if implementation of customer experience is successful or not by looking at the vision of the leadership. If the leadership vision exists, then that's the first thing. The second is, are you able to put the execution in a day-to-day basis into what your vision is? So basically translating that vision by everyday acts, small acts which are making sure you are living your vision. It's not just on the wall, like, right? And the way I looked at is being able to measure that on a daily basis. They would measure and continue to improve. So what you measure gets improved.
Right.
And of course, since it was about the patients, so I also observed, I think whether a hospital, whether a patient related business or any other business, empathy and you connect directly with the customer, being able to put yourself in your customer's shoes are powerful things. And I think while I've talked so much about what I found there, I think this exactly is probably my view of if these four elements of having a vision, a system, measuring it, and having empathy, if these four things are in place, I think we do not fail, but it's very difficult to have it.
Yeah.
And that's why 76% organizations do not succeed.
That's absolutely true. There's something called as customer listening that you told, right? So what companies practice is that when they give out feedback forms, so companies ask things about what they want to listen and not what customers would want to say. So that is something I just currently found out, and it occurred to me like, wow, that is actually a really um, good way to say that, maybe we are not listening to the customers, but we want to hear only those things that we would like to hear, and not where what customers would want to say. So maybe that is also one approach that we would like to change. We should be changing in our organizations. That when we ask for feedback, it should be more broad and not on the point that only we would want to listen.
Yeah, very well said. I think that's a very big bias as a service providers, that we want to hear what we want to hear, irrespective of what customer may have. Sometimes it's very harsh truth. So I think we kind of sometimes are not ready. Quite true.
So we've seen experts and brands talking about CX planning and strategizing, like the 4 steps you mentioned, but hardly talking about the execution and outcome of the CX improvement plan. So how can we make sure that these plans are well implemented and continuously also improved upon?
Yeah, great question. I think it's connected to what we just talked about. I think in there also I said the leadership's commitment, and in that having a clear vision. What is interesting, I work with so many companies, and when I ask them, what's your company's vision? Many those visions, of course, will be different.
Yeah.
But good number of companies' vision do not clearly highlight the element of customer focus. And even if it does, it's many a times it's just on the wall, right? So to give you an example, Amazon's vision, I'm sure most of the listeners or viewers would know what is Amazon's vision. At least they are, they would have experienced that. And that's the key difference. Amazon's vision is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. Now, it's a big vision. But I've been watching Jeff Bezos, and I've tracked his track record from last 20 years. I've looked at what he said in 1999 and what he said in 2 years back and in the recent past. And he's very consistent. And one thing he says is, while he says that we have a vision to be Earth's most customer-centric company, is also very customer obsessed. So they back it with execution, getting into the details and spending hours to refine those small elements of the customer journey. Kindle is a good example. Kindle would take multiple steps to, if you want to download a digital book, it would take multiple steps. Now it's a single click, right? So they really spend insane amount of time to make sure that execution gap is bridged with clearly defined system and processes. The other example is Zappos, whose vision is delivering happiness. Now, Zappos, if you know, it started as a company which was selling shoes for the women. Now, of course, it has expanded itself as a company which is again an e-commerce company selling multiple other products as well. But delivering happiness is in their system. Now, it is amazing when I learned about it, the longest track record of a call till the issue is resolved for Zappos, the call with a customer to resolve the issue was 10 hours and 52 seconds, 10 hours and 52 minutes. And that is the kind of commitment they have to delivering happiness. Now what I'm saying is, this vision backed by daily acts is the key thing, which is what will help in making sure that strategy is put into practice. It's not just a thing on the wall.
Yeah, that's true. Great examples, by the way. And I guess Amazon, whenever people compare customer experience, it is always Amazon has always been the benchmark since the past many years. And the way they have improved customer experience is so gradual that we have fallen into that pattern as a customer also, that now we generally expect that even from companies who are not doing it. So
Right.
that is the way they have set it in the market, that this is the best that we give, and that is why customers have also demanding better customer experience in other places as well. So that is how Amazon treats customers like really really well.
Yeah, very right. I mean, I keep giving examples, and there are very few like that,
Hmm.
incidentally. So people sometimes ask why only Amazon, but that's the fact. Yeah.
It is the greatest, and that is the very big reason why they have succeeded, because they've always kept customer first and then executed. So can you elaborate on this equation: CX strategy equal to corporate plus employee engagement plus business strategy?
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I think when I wrote about this equation, I also had drawn a Venn diagram where, the three circles meet together, where one was the corporate strategy, the employee engagement, and the business strategy coming together, and CX strategy in the middle.
Yeah.
So, corporate strategy, as I would like to define it, is a long term strategy. For example, do you want to be an innovation company with,
Mm.
or product enhancement company, or you would do something which is unique business model? So, that's your strategy. How would you run your business, at a corporate level?
Yeah.
And business strategy, we would define is how would you achieve growth, sales, revenue, profitability, likewise. And employees, a set of people who make that organization get you those results, which is defined in your corporate long-term vision and your direction. And business is your medium to short-term objectives, right?
Right.
Customer experience has to be a common theme across these three areas, which means that, like again, taking example of Amazon, it says earth's most customer centric. Now that's the direction they want to take. That's their corporate vision. And of course they are not there to make losses. They're there to grow and make profits. That's a business. So business strategy is always, and on the other side they also call themselves as everything store, right? So
Yeah.
which means they'll store everything and deliver everything to anybody who on the earth. At the same time they'll be customer centric. So this brings in, actually this is again a good example of you seeing the business strategy there, the corporate vision there, and employees at the back, which we do not see,
Mm.
the culture of the people. On that again we can talk about example from Zappos, which is actually a leader, and they teach others how to build customer centric culture. They have a way of managing organization which is called as a holocracy management system, which means there is no hierarchy.
Okay.
Which means if there are 100 people, nobody is a boss, everybody is a boss. Everybody is empowered in the same way. When in these all three circles,
Mm.
together, customer is at the center of decision making, the corporate strategy and the business strategy, then you have that is what is a differentiated true customer experience strategy, right? So this is what I mean, that these three things have to have common customer experience element as one of their DNA strands.
Yeah, that is true. Customer first behavior, and in the center of the decision making. That's right. So
Yeah.
I have heard experts telling these things, and seconding the point
Mm.
that you have just said, that um, the be where the customers are, and the changes that you're making, make sure your customers want those changes. Like if they are asking for it and you're enhancing it that way, then it would be beneficial. Like if you
Mm.
are putting efforts in enhancing something which the customer does not want, then it is not beneficial for the either. So that's
Right.
absolutely right.
That's what I mean. Yeah, precisely.
So, should we as companies emphasizing on creating more unique experiences or better experiences for our customers?
Yeah, I think so. I can think of examples. Sometime back, I asked a couple of senior leaders, what is their favorite experience, and I remember at least two of them talking about their experience of visiting to one of their favorite hotels where they stay away from home. And one of the leaders, she told me that she visited the same hotel after many months. And some of the things she really liked, for example, rose being put in a vase in her room, which is not common in every room. But since she liked that, they that time had given it to her. And when she visited again, they specially brought that the same vase with a rose flower, same color, and left it on her table the day she checked in. So she was so touched. And similar examples I see. So that is an example of a unique and a personalized experience. Now, how can it be not a good experience? It's a good experience, a great experience, right? So for me, when we ask whether creating a unique experience, what is better, I think if we are able to reach where it can be so unique and personalized, that's amazing. And that's not always possible. That's probably more effort intensive, especially if you're catering to a large customer base. But the research and the study says even if you're able to create some of them in your customer journey, at least at 1 or 2 points, if you can create that peak experience, that is a unique experience, and that's a great experience, right? So while it's not always possible to have uniqueness every time, but it is possible to think about your customer and make some unique experience. And I think that's where every organization should strive to be there. Better experience can be even better if it's unique. That's my view.
That's true. That's absolutely true. So this is something like standing out and making a mark on the customer's mind that you did something very unique that they remembered.
That's right. Yes.
That would also make this what do we call it? Word of mouth marketing.
Oh yeah, that will create that I like I am sharing. I think she would share it the same. If it happened with me, I would always keep talking about that. That's true. So it's a word of mouth goes far. True. One happy customer tells to other what 7, 10, whatever, you may say. Yeah.
Yeah. So we heard that you recently did a webinar explaining the movement of customers from existing stage to the desired stage. So can this be enhanced at a higher level using automation?
Okay, yeah, great. First of all, I want to acknowledge your research. I don't know if I do talk about this, and I didn't know that you were there in one of the webinars. So great to know that, first of all. So I want to acknowledge that level of research that you go to when you're creating credible customer experience knowledge repository, right? So that's great. Yeah, I think first of all, I want to just make it clear for the listeners and the viewers that all of us, every human has an existing stage and a desired stage. So for example, if I want to own a Mercedes-Benz car, it's not a car. It's a state where I want to be probably letting know the world that I have arrived, maybe, that I want to demonstrate that, something about me, that sense of achievement, status, right? So that's every product or service is deeply about the emotions that we want to reach at that stage. So that's about the luxury product. If we look at sometimes we place an order on Amazon for something, right? So I don't know about you, but when I place an order for a gadget, I just quickly want to get it and start using it, right? So that gives me some kind of an excitement. So again, that's emotional state, right? It could be a mobile phone, it could be a earphone, or it could be any other product. Smallest to the product has some and there is a sense of urgency that sometimes with this technology that we want to experience. Now, I was invited to speak at Google, and YouTube is now owned by Google. What I learned that they came up with when I was giving them a framework of how to deliver great experience, what came from them is that the customers are very impatient now.
Yeah.
So if I actually book a Uber from my house, nowadays we are not traveling, but when we would do it, we would quickly expect it to be there standing waiting for us, right? So automation, the technology can make it faster.
Yeah.
Automation can make that, helping us reach from customers existing state to the desired stage, which is owning that product or sense of getting the things done, whatever XYZ it is. Automation definitely is a powerful differentiator, but we should not get lost in doing automation and forget about that element of emotional state in which we want to move the customers from.
Right.
So automation should enable more of that. And I think we are in that space and age. This is called as age of customer,
Yeah.
where speed is critical to satisfying the customers. And automation, I believe, in many ways comes handy in all of those efficiency gains while we are trying to serve the customer. So I would say that yes, the answer is absolutely we can enhance this movement of helping customer move from existing state to desired state using automation.
So coming down to the concluding question that we would like to ask, that what do you think should be the first 3 steps on a base level maybe that the companies can implement for CX right after they watch this video?
Okay, yeah, I think there could be so many things. It's a great question, but also can have a lot of scope in it. Especially when you know a few things about CX, you want to say many things, and I think you smartly put it at 3 steps. So let me share with you, one of the incidents which I learned about United Telecom, which is a company in US. It's like similar to a telecom company anywhere else, and once a lady called the United Telecom, and the operator picks up the phone. His name is Carlos, and that's a true story. And he picked up the phone, and she on the other side said that I want to disconnect my services. And of course, like you would expect, he was, probably he reacted, taken aback. Why would it be? He asked the question, and she said that because I've been diagnosed with cancer, and I am going through chemotherapy, and I cannot afford all these extra expenses. To her, it looked like unwanted expenses or a little bit which he want to curtail. Now, he got touched because his own grandmother was also diagnosed with cancer, and he has experienced some bit of what kind of sensitivity the woman has. So he said, wait, let me figure out what we can do for you. And he found out that they have had a policy where they could, in certain special cases, they could extend a discount of up to 30% for over 6 months. So he said that I will make sure that you get it, right? And it would have, again, there are policy was in place, but it would take some bit of more systemic ticks in the box to make sure that happens. And so she was still relieved. She said, okay, thank you so much. I would then like to continue if it's possible. Meanwhile, he said that, I would, he wanted to do something more because that this company had, again, the way they would work, they would be having people who are able to demonstrate that sense of empathy. So Carlos wanted to do something more for her. And he said, would you be okay if I just shave my head to demonstrate my support for whatever you're going through? Now, her, the whole, she actually was taken aback thinking, why would somebody do that? And it was unbelievable, but she still felt supported. And they kept the phone, the conversation got over, but Carlos had a choice to do nothing about it, just would have talked through it and then kind of got away with that. But what he did is he shaved off his head, clicked his picture and sent it to the lady. So he completed the loop. Now, why I'm sharing this is, we are in that era where a lot of people are going through a lot of things. And we really don't know what kind of challenges each one might be having. Now, can we bring organization and its culture where, again, I'm using the word and I love to use that, the empathy. being able to put ourselves, and it's a lot of time people ask, can it be inculcated? Can it be trained? Absolutely. You have some of it. All of us are humans with a heart, right? So we know what it feels. We all have feelings, but it's just that we sometimes contain and, um, we have to allow that to show it in our business. That's the one thing. So if we are able to think on behalf of our customer and create services and product from that state of being able to put ourselves in their shoes, that's the first starting point, right? That means that we can create something which is accepted and liked by the customer. If we are able to deliver at that standard, then we'll make them happy. And if you are able to make them happy, the company is going to do well, irrespective of what's happening in the industry, right? So that's the first thing, which is building empathetic culture in the organization. That's number one. The second thing is, like in previous questions we did talk about how do automation, the systems, how can you make something which becomes a part of your system? Then it's not just that we end up talking about it, but how do we make sure, and there are good examples of some of the companies, how do we translate that into day-to-day activities? The example of United Telecom was not a one-off. In their ecosystems, they were encouraged to do things which where they were allowed to go out of the way. Now, certain companies say that, but they are very focused on selling the numbers, the growth, the customers, get them. Sometimes it's the extreme end of reality versus the other end of vision. So it's completely in the air. So bringing that vision to reality, you have a customer centric vision, bring it to reality. That's the number two, through systems and processes and practices. And the third is using certain tools. And here I would like to talk about design thinking, right? Design thinking, I think, makes it real. Like, whatever am I saying, bringing empathy, having ability to put yourself in your customer's shoes and having a system. Design thinking is that tool which is very powerful. And I've facilitated several design thinking journey mapping events where suddenly there are light bulbs that goes on in the people, and what it does is different function, whether it's finance, customer facing, sales, marketing, everybody come onto the same page, right? So use that technology, that tool, that ability to find out more about your customer. So build deeper understanding, build your product around that. So to summarize, it's about empathy. It's about having the systems to make it happen. And it's about use of tools like design thinking to build your deeper understanding of your customers. I mean, long answer to your short question.
No, that actually helps. So because when people say, like just we said in the first thing, that people understand what CX is and they want to take a step, but the steps that you have mentioned, the basic 3 steps, so that can at least people can start focusing that way, and organizations can pave their way through, at least starting with these um, things. So yeah, that definitely helps. So thank you so much, Rajat, for giving us your time. The insights that you have shared are really valuable, and the audience is really going to enjoy this interview.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thanks for reaching out and making it happen. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. We'll be back with a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one. Good day.